What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we have a pretty exciting news video. Bungie have actually posted a teaser trailer for the reveal of Year 2 of Destiny 2. We also get some information, very briefly, about the new DLC, which I'll talk about in just a moment. I'm also going to talk about some of the things we're likely to see in the reveal. On top of this, we have some information about the upcoming faction rally, some bits of clarification, plus a few other updates, so let's jump straight into it. First up, Bungie tweeted out and they said tomorrow the second year of Destiny 2 will be revealed. Join us on June 5th at 9 AM Pacific. And that'll be on Bungie's Twitch channel as well as the YouTube channel. As I mentioned, Bungie posted a teaser video for this, so let's check it out. First thing to mention, we've learned that the DLC for September will be called Forsaken. Pretty interesting, we also see the icon for it right there. In the trailer itself though, we see an area very clearly on the Reef. We've got these two ships kind of flying in, and you actually see a Guardian kind of transmat in. Interestingly enough though, Cade is actually with the Guardian. So that's certainly pretty interesting, brings up a few questions about the potential story here. We can also see that the Hunter is wearing some new gear there, which is pretty cool. Looks like potentially a new weapon as well. Hard to say if this is going to be legendary or exotic gear, although I have seen some speculation already that this Hunter could be potentially holding the last word. Obviously, it is a hand cannon model. I guess the general shape of the weapon, you know, it could be the last word. There's also some interesting kind of ornamentation on the weapon. This isn't the highest quality video though. Let me know what you guys think below. Of course, it's entirely possible that Bungie would bring back a weapon like this. But then we do see them walking forward on these kind of platforms in an area on the Reef. The platforms are kind of similar to what we saw in the Reef social space in D1, but that doesn't necessarily make it the same actual location. We can see a kind of formation of rocks above them as well, so this is going to be a different space, but it does maintain that kind of purple aesthetic that you see on the Reef, and you've got the various debris kind of out in space. Another thing I'd point out as well, if you listen to the audio that you hear, I don't know whether it's just me or whether there are folks kind of cheering in the background. Take a listen to it once again. Kind of maybe sounds like it, unusually. I don't know whether it's just me, let me know down below, but I swear I can hear like a whole bunch of people cheering. Almost sounds like it's mixed really low in the audio, but I could just be going completely crazy. But obviously this is pretty exciting stuff. The Forsaken DLC, of course, landing in September like we said before. I'm wondering why Cade is with us in that cinematic right there. Obviously that is a story tease. Cade has made reference to Prison of Elders and a few other things associated with the Reef in the past, so it seems like there could be some interesting links there. Of course, on top of this though, we are expecting to see the Awoken. In particular, the Queen's brother is a character that we're very likely to meet in this expansion. So there's a lot of different interesting directions that this could actually go in. Let me know what you guys think down below. Do you think the Forsaken is looking pretty exciting so far? I'm definitely very curious about it. Obviously with Bungie showing us content there as well, it looks like we will get a peek at actual DLC content and not purely discussion about fixes and changes to the game, although that is something that Bungie said they were also going to be taking a look at and updating the roadmap. But just to reiterate and give some further context, this is what Bungie had previously said about the streams. They said that we'd recently updated the development roadmap with some new milestones. September was plotted as a new waypoint with a hint of more yet to be revealed. The time for that reveal has come, and then Deej goes on to say, we'd like to invite you to catch a glimpse of what we have planned for the second year of Destiny 2. We have some big ideas for how we're going to transform your Guardian lifestyle and reinforce your hobby as an interplanetary hero. We'll tell you about it and we'll do it live. You'll hear from many members of our development team who will set some big goals for September in their own words. We'll explore deeper into new territory with game designer Steve Cotton and project lead Scott Taylor. We'll respond to a bunch of community feedback and unveil some other things that you haven't even been looking forward to yet. On top of this, we'll take a look at the new roadmap with exciting new promises for everyone. So obviously we know that we're going to hear about some of the lifestyle and endgame stuff in the game, and that's on top of other new content, but also they speak about updating the development roadmap. So when we look at the September roadmap right now, these will be some of the things that we'll hear about in the stream. So gear collections, presumably that means more intelligent systems for storage, and maybe even questification and tracking for pieces of gear. On top of this, records as well, which presumably is going to be like a milestone kind of tag tab. Maybe they'll use this space to put all of the quests. Of course, we're getting new bounties later in the summer, and they can of course incorporate milestones and reputation for various factions or activities in there as well. But then they talk about weapon slot changes. This is a pretty big one for the community, and obviously these changes are pretty important to the game. We don't currently know exactly how they're going to work. Of course, in D1 we had random rolls, which if you didn't play D1 basically meant that a weapon could get a whole series of different potential perks on it when it actually dropped. And so you could create tons of different combinations of stat bonuses and then trait perks as well. Bungie have confirmed that for weapon randomization in Destiny 2, it will be incorporated into the mod system, which is also going to be a new updated system in September. So it's possible that certain stat attributes or bonuses, even perks, could be on mods. We will maybe see more limited randomization on the weapons. It could be 1 or 2 of the perks. It could be stat bonuses, maybe even archetype changes. It looks like Bungie certainly want it to be an innovation on what we had in D1 as opposed to just simply the same system. And of course, then there is the gameplay modes. It's interesting that they talk about modes as in potential multiple modes. Taken King was the first time we saw that public space, the Court of Oryx, and then later on the Archon's Forge. So of course they could be talking about PvE modes like that. We also know that they plan to release a big innovative mode to Destiny and FPS games in general. And then of course you may have even other Crucible game modes and things like that thrown in too. So it's a lot of potential stuff to actually learn about in the live stream. And of course E3 is actually next week, and we'll be getting more information there as well. But I just wanted to talk about each of those elements, what they really mean and why they're important to the game. Before we move on, I should reiterate that there will be an update in July. So obviously on the most part, we're wrapping up a few bits of WARMIND, some new events, and then next month we actually get that update that brings bounties, prestige raid lairs, PC text chat, triumphs, and exotic armor sandbox changes. On top of this, there will be the Solstice of Heroes, which is the seasonal summer event. So while it isn't necessarily a major update to the game, there are definitely a few important elements in there, and I'm especially curious to see how they handle the bounties system, especially considering that will then have to be incorporated into other new systems, including that records tab just a couple of months later in September. Now though, to round up some social media stuff and some other Destiny news, a few people were speaking about the summoning of the 9 supposed DLC leak for Destiny 2. Some of the folks who were at the Bungie Summit debunked it as well, because of course they have seen the content. Eric Osborne from Bungie said summoning of the Nope. He really likes debunking DLC leaks that are fake. Deej replied, Forge of Nope 2, the Summer Chronicles. So obviously they're having a bit of a laugh about it, but we know for sure that it's not true. Couple of bits about faction rallies. Cosmo pointed out there will be 3 events, 1 for each of them. He's referring to the individual factions if you want to try and get all of the loot, or nearly all of the loot. Because of course one of the issues is that some of the loot is kind of locked away if you pledge to FWC this time around, for example, and they don't actually win. Their featured weapon will be put into their loot pool for the next event, and so in order for you to get that featured weapon, you'd have to then pledge to FWC again and lose your opportunity to pledge to all 3. So essentially, there are going to be some items you just simply can't obtain. Cosmo did confirm though that rewards won't be capped at rank 30. Of course, rank 50 is the maximum reward level for this new rally, so you can technically hit the max level in each faction each time the event rolls around. But on the subject of some of those issues, somebody said, can we get some acknowledgement that feedback has been heard? I hope we can freely pledge to any faction on any character in the rally after this coming week's event. And Cosmo said, sure, I will pass along the feedback. And of course, if Bungie did do that, it would make it much more likely that folks would be able to get everything from the upcoming faction rallies. So they are listening to that feedback. It's possible they could make a change before the next event. On the subject of sunbracers though, some folks on Reddit were talking about them, and they'd figured out that the solar grenades that you can actually throw won't stack in terms of damage. So if you threw 2 of them onto one target, and Cosmo said he confirmed with the sandbox team that this is not a bug and is the expected behavior, and they said that the functionality of the solar grenade has not changed in several years. What you're seeing is the same behavior as they had in D1, where the lingering damage volume left by solar grenades does not stack when an enemy is in the middle of multiple instances of it. The sandbox team has heard your feedback regarding this behavior and are considering it for the future. So just an interesting shout right there, I thought I'd point it out. Also, just to reiterate, currently vanilla Nightfall strikes and Curse of Osiris Nightfall strikes are not capable of dropping their Nightfall specific loot. Whether it's some of the exotic cosmetics or a weapon, there's a bug that's stopping them from actually being available to drop. Now, presumably Bungie are going to put a Nightfall that can drop the loot this week until they fix it, but just in case they don't do that, bear this in mind. I know a few people have wasted a bit of time trying to get weapons and things that they can't actually get dropped at the moment. So that is going to conclude the video, guys. Lots of stuff to talk about. Obviously, lots more exciting stuff coming up. I will keep you guys posted. Stick around here tomorrow for all the information from the reveal stream and the weekly reset. But if you have enjoyed this video, a like is very much appreciated below. If you're new to the channel, be sure to hit subscribe to see more D2 content. For now though, I appreciate you watching as always, and I will catch you very soon.